Hello and welcome to my channel, and for my first video I'll be showing you how to expand single brackets. So here, x brackets 3 plus 5 is probably the most easy question you'll get out of expanding brackets, and I'm just going to go through how I expand the bracket and how I solve it. So from this, I like to start off with drawing little arrows from the first term to the second term to the terms inside the bracket. This shows what you times what by. So for the first arrow, it's going from x to 3. So you times everything that's outside of the bracket and onto everything that's inside of the bracket. So you do x times 3, which will be 3x, because you timed x by 3, which makes it 3x. So next, you want to go to the next arrow and do x times 5, which would be 5x. So you do 3x plus 5x. So hopefully you can see where I've done that and where the arrows represent. So now you've got 3x plus 5x. You want to simplify that to 8x. So that's probably the easiest question you'll get on a paper if you do get any questions. Next, I want to show you 5 bracket y plus 3. Now, using the same method I used in the first question, pause the video now and see if you could solve this question on your own. Otherwise, I'll do the answer right now. Okay, so like I've said before, you want to draw these 2 arrows, or there could be more than 2 arrows depending on how many terms are in the brackets. So with these arrows, you do 5 times y, which would be 5y, and then 5 times 3, 5 times plus 3, which is 15, so plus 15. As you can see, we don't have to simplify these anymore because they don't have any common terms, so 5y plus 15 would be the answer. Next, another question could be 8 bracket w plus 10. Okay, if you're confident with doing these brackets now, you can pause the video now and just try it out for yourself. Okay, so after doing these arrows, I can show you that 8 times w is 8w, plus 8 times 10, which is 80. So overall, you just have to times what's on the outside of the bracket onto the inside of the bracket, if that makes sense. Okay, next question. 9 bracket 2x minus 5. So this is a bit different to the questions we previously come across, because although how you do it is the same, the inside of this bracket has a negative, so the numbers will be different. So you want to do the arrows again, and then what you want to do is 9 times 2x, which would be 18x, minus, because there's a minus inside the bracket, so 9 times minus 5, which would be minus 45. So it would be 18x minus 14.5. Okay, next, we're going to do 3 bracket 9 minus 2a. So it just shows how the letters can be either side of the number, it doesn't matter. You can still easily do this. Okay, so after drawing your arrows, 3 times 9, which is 27, and then 3 times minus 2a, which would be minus 6a, and that's your answer. Okay, next we've got minus 2 bracket w plus 5. So from here we have a negative on the number outside of the bracket, so it would still be the same thing, but you just do minus 2 times whatever's inside the bracket. So now we draw the arrows, and then what we do is minus 2 times w, which is minus 2w, and then minus 2 times plus 5, which would be minus 10, and then that's your answer. Okay, the next question is 7 minus 7 bracket g minus 3. Okay, so seeing as this is minus 7, so you do minus 7 times g, which would be minus 7g, and then what you want to do is the next arrow then, minus 7 times minus 3, which would be, if you have two negatives, if the signs are the same, you add. So minus 7 times minus 3, which would be plus 21. And that's your answer then. Okay. Next, a bracket c plus 2. So even though there's letters inside the bracket, it's still the same thing. So what you want to do is the arrows again. It doesn't matter if the arrows are on the top or the bottom. So you could do a times c, which is ac, because you times a by c. And then you do a times positive 2, which is plus 2a. Okay. So, next question. Y bracket s plus t. So, you do the same thing and you do the arrows. And then you do y plus s, which would be ys, plus y times positive t, which is just yt. And that's your answer then. Okay, next we're going on to 6g bracket 2c minus 1. See throughout the questions that we've slowly progressed in difficulty, and at the end will be the most challenging questions for you. So feel free to skip through and back through the video to see what you like doing and to just go over what you don't understand. Okay, now it is 2g times 2c. So you do the arrows again. This just helps you remember what you times by what. So 6g times 2c, which would be 12gc, because 6 times 2 is 12. And then you do g times c, which is just gc, so 12gc. Okay, now you do 6g times minus 1, which would be minus 6g. So minus 6g, because you do positive 6g times minus 1, which would be minus 6g. Okay, next we have 3y bracket 5p plus 2. Okay, yeah, so you do 3y times 5p, which is, so once you've done the arrows, just to help you remember, you do 3y times 5p, which is 15yp. And then you do 3y times, so you times with the arrow, 3y times 2, which is just 6y. So you do 15yp plus 6y. Okay, next. Minus 4a bracket 8x minus 3. So here we do have a negative number on the x side. So minus 4a times 8x would be 8 times x. So here I'll do the workings out for you. 8 times 4, which is 32. And then you do a times x, which is ax. And then there's a minus here, so you put the minus on the end. So the answer would be minus 32ax. So you do 32ax. And then you have minus 4a times minus 3. So minus 4a times minus 3 would be positive 12a. Because you have the two similar terms here, minus and a minus, it makes it a positive number. So the answer would be 32ax plus 12a. Okay, for the next question, it's a little bit different. We have 8 bracket a plus 2. This is different because we have a similar term on the outside as well as the inside. So a. So if you times a letter by itself, it would be a squared. So a times a would be a squared, because a times a is just a squared. And then you have a times 2. So that would just be 2a. So a squared positive 2a. Next we have a similar question. There's the same difficulty. So we have y bracket y minus 5. Yep. Y bracket y minus 5 here. So we do y times y, which would be y squared. And we do y times 5 would be 5y. However, there's a negative symbol here, so it would be negative 5y. Okay. Next we have w bracket a plus w. So there's no numbers in this, it's just letters. However, it's the same thing, so we just do the arrows again. So w times a, so w times a, which is wa, plus w times w. So if you remember from the previous questions, if a letter times itself, it's just w squared. It's just the squared version of itself. So w times w is w squared. Okay. Next question. Next question is p bracket 2p plus 5. So what we want to do is just draw the arrows again. So p times 2p. So here we have p bracket 2p plus 5. So what we want to do is get the p on the outside times 2p. So when a letter times itself, it will be squared. So p times 2p would just be 2p squared. Plus, and then you want to do p times 5, which would just be 5p. Okay, so next is 2w bracket 3w minus 1 equals, so what we want to do is the term on the outside times the term on the inside. However, there's a letter here, so that would just be squared. So 2w bracket 3w. So 2w times 3w is 6w squared. Minus, because there's a minus term here, so it would be 2w times minus 1, which is just minus 2w. Okay. Next we have 9y bracket 2y plus 3 is equal to. So after we do the arrows, we have 9y times 2y is 18y squared, because you have 9y times 2y. So 9 times 2 is 18. Y times y is y squared. Okay, next you do 9y times 3, which is just 9 times 3, which is 27. So it would be positive 27y, because the y's here. Okay, next we have 4c bracket 2a plus 5c. So we do 4c times 2a, which is 8ca, plus, so we've still got the arrows, plus 4c times 5c, which would be 20c squared. So we have 4c times 5c, which is 4 times 5, which is 20, and c times c, which is c squared, so 20c squared. Okay, so next we have 2u brackets, so we have 2u brackets 3 minus u is equal. So we do 2u times 3 again, which is 6u, and then we do 2u times minus u, which would be minus 2u squared. Okay, next question. We have m brackets m squared plus 3. So this is a little different because we have a squared on the term here. However, we just put to the power of, so say m times m squared is just 2 m's times together. So we have another m on the outside. So that's a third m coming in. So m times m squared would be m to the power of 3, because this would be m squared is just m times m. So that's 2 different m's times together to make m squared. So you get an m on the outside, times that by m squared, and just add a 1 onto that because that's another m. And then we have m times 3 is 3m. So it'd be positive 3m. So finally, for the last question, we have 4a bracket 2a squared minus 3. And then we do the arrows again. So we have 4a times 2a squared, which is 4 times 2, which is 8. And then a times a squared, which is a to the power of 3. Because what we did last time, we times that a with the already existing 2a's. So a to the power of 3. So 4a then is times by minus 3. So that'll be minus 12a. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video and hope you've learned a bit about expanding single brackets. Next video I'll talk about expanding double brackets, so check that out on my channel. So as well, on my website I'll be posting some worksheets for single brackets just to help you get some more practice questions and practice your single bracket skills. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.